Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tronage, and today we're going to be talking about drone drop for April 2019. Want to know what's inside this box? I know I do. Stick around. Alright guys, we have the long-awaited April 2019 drone drop getting all set and ready for your unboxing pleasure. But before we get into the unboxing, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. While you're at it, hit that bell icon. It just makes finding my videos a little bit easier, helps support the channel, and keeps you in the know when I post new videos. Speaking of keeping you in the know, there's a couple thank yous I want to throw out there because we do have a couple more people who have joined our Patreon, and I'd like to give them some thanks. Alright, so the first person I would like to thank would be David C. He joined up on the Patreon, and he actually has a print request, and here it is in my hand. He requested the little 20-degree camera angle mount thing for the Beta FPV line of little mini micro quads. So I'll be sending that out to you shortly. So thanks for joining up. And I'd also like to thank Mark D for signing up. He kind of came in that like $5 mark, which is so generous. And I'm so thankful to have people that willing to give. And it really just warms my heart. He requested the pagoda antenna that I've been building. So as with before, here's the pagoda you will be receiving. All built and fancy, coming in its own little case with a little slide top. And if you saw the earlier video where I dropped one, yeah, I didn't drop this one. See, I was careful this time. Cool deal. And he also wanted the little antenna mod for the XJB, so you'll be getting that as well. These will be hitting the mailbox very shortly. So with that out of the way, let's get to this unboxing. So basically, here's how this works. I bring you guys in close. I do the unboxing live with you right off the bat. I don't open it ahead of time and take a look at it and play with it, then put it back in the box and like pretend. This way you get my genuine reactions to these products, whether I know what it is or not, and what it is, and whether I think it's cool or not, whatever, you know. Then what we do is we kind of talk about the items, and we'll do a little bit of a cost analysis to see really what kind of value are you getting in this box, because it costs a certain amount to buy it. And if it's worth a certain amount, we kind of do a little analysis to see how it is. And then again, I give you my thoughts about it, all the different items in here, and, you know, let you know what I think, all right? So, enough talking, get over here. All right, so here we go. We have our drone drop with premium parts. You know it's real when it's got a little printed label on it. Yeah. So, let's dig in. We do a little flipperoo. I got a brand new blade on my cutter here because I've been complaining about that in the last couple of videos. So let's see how good a brand new blade cuts. Whoa, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Little pre-open. Flip back around. Here we go. You ready? I'm ready. Oh, look. There's more stuff on this inside flap I wanted to show you. More premium parts and a surprise each month with a happy box. All right. Back to this. Are we ready? Let's go. Alright, so we're seeing some cool things here. So let's start off with this sticker sheet. Little kebab action. Can't go wrong. Pretty cool stuff. Really nice. Alright, set that to the side. We got this thing here, which I know what it is, but I'm not sure what I'm going to want to do with it. But this looks like it's a fuse holder. Maybe it's sort of like a smoke stopper type. Instead of it, whatever, it pops the fuse. I mean, there's just a fuse in here. There's nothing fancy about it. It's a very thin fuse. It's a 2 amp fuse. So my guess is this is a version of a smoke stopper that if more than 2 amps flows through this, it pops your fuse and obviously cuts off the power. The disadvantage to this versus other types of smoke stoppers is that it pops a fuse and now it's, you know, worthless until you buy a new replacement fuse, versus other ones that have either a fuse that resets itself automatically and is reusable, or ones like the one I use, which is right here, happen to have it handy, that routes the power into a light bulb versus letting it go through and out into the quad. But still, it's nice to have different options and different ways, which is why I love this hobby. There's no right or wrong way to do something, but there's yet many ways to do it, and this is just another way, another technique of basically making a smoke stopper, which is what I'm going to guess this is, if nothing else in the box tells me different. Alright, what do we got here? We have, oh, that's pretty cute, nifty and pretty. What we have here, it looks like to be a USB cable. Yep, it's your micro USB cable. It's got a braid going on it. The connectors feel pretty solid. I'm going to bet it's a data cable, so we can use this to hook up to our quads into beta flight and whatnot. And it's actually kind of nifty because I was looking to pick up one, but I just was kind of too lazy to buy one. So it's nice that I got one, and I don't have to worry about getting it. So we'll have to give that a whirl. Next up, we have some Hurricane 51466 props. They're clear gray. They're the Kebab FPV version. All right, so looking at my database to see which props we have received since February of 2018, we have not received these. This is a new design. The ones we did receive were the Hurricanes 51499. These are 51466. I don't know why they're getting so fancy, taking it out to 3 decimal places there instead of just doing 47. But hey, that's maybe part of the wonderment and the fun of the Hurricane prop from Gemfan. And you also get a little sticker, it looks like, too. Yeah, you get a little kebab sticker in there, too, in each one, which is pretty cool. So we got 1, 2, 3 packs of those. And then we have the frame. We'll be talking about this frame in a little bit because I did receive an email regarding this frame and we'll be discussing that email. But the long story short is you can't build this frame because there's like a hole that's missing over here on the arms, and Drone Drop will be sending replacement arms. But we'll get into that. So, to recap what's in the box, we have the frame. We have 3 sets of props. We have a USB cable. We have a smoke stopper, because that's all I can think that that's going to be used for. And we got some stickers. All right. Let's run some numbers, see if this is worth it. Alright guys, I know I promised you some cost analysis, and bam! There it is. So let's go through this line by line because there's some pretty good value here in this Drone Drop box. So first we have these Kebab Edition props. These are the Hurricanes. Like I mentioned, since February of 2018, we've gotten a whole bunch of props, and this is not one of them. We did receive Hurricane 51499. This is 466, so it's just slightly less pitchy than the previous ones. So I am very excited to throw these on my test bench and run them through their paces and see how they work. But I am a fan of the Gemfan. I get it, and I didn't even really mean to say that, but hey, whatever. And they're pretty cool. I like the color. I will admit I am a little bit more fond of those bright, like, sparkly colors versus just like the clear black. But you know what, sometimes it's kind of cool to mix and match, you know, do like the colors with like 3D printed parts or something on there, and then have your props be a little bit more subdued. Although I will say, when you use these type of props, kind of looks like the craft that's flying doesn't even have props on it, so it kind of has a cool look to it. It's very stealthy. So it depends on what you're after and what you're into. I kind of like it a little bit more colorful, but hey, a prop is a prop, and you know what, I'm gonna use them. Next up, we got what I found to be called a boom stopper, although it's a little bit different. I don't think this is that one. Okay, so the one I found is actually by Hobby King, and it looks identical, except the housing for the fuse in here has a little LED light. And if you read the description, it would say it will, if there's a load applied or something is wrong, it'll pop the 2 amp fuse and the little red light will light up, and it'll also drop the power that's going to your quad to a safe level to allow you to disconnect. This I don't think has any of that because I do not see any LED lights. So I'm thinking this is kind of maybe even a little bit less sophisticated in that this is just a fuse. There's no electronics or LED lights or anything in here at all. If the current exceeds 2 amps, fuse pops, disconnects the power, and your thing will turn off. So it's a little bit simpler design, I guess. I'm being generous by calling it the same price as the one that I found on Hobby King, but it accomplishes the same task. And as I mentioned earlier, I do like how in this hobby there's many ways to do things, and smoke stoppers are one of them. There are many versions out there that have self-resetting fuses. There's this type where you have a fuse on it. There's even the type like I built that have a light bulb on them. And there's much simpler versions. You don't have to have a whole box. I just liked having a switch so that I can turn things on and off. This helps in binding because you don't have to worry about plugging things in and holding bind buttons. I can operate this one-handed. I can do anything I want here and turn on a switch to turn on the power and then cut the power. So that's why I built my little Tronage smoke stopper with the light bulb on there. But there are versions of that have the light bulb just naked, like just some wire, so you just plug into it. It's not, I didn't invent it, I just, refined it a little bit. So there's many ways to do a smoke stopper, and this is one of them. Is it my favorite? Not really, because put yourself in the shoes of you have a quad, you just built it. Unbeknownst to you, there is a short in it. So you're going to plug in. Now, obviously, you want to use a smoke stopper because if there's a short, you can fry the components, and that would really, really, really suck. However, if you use this smoke stopper and it pops, okay, cool, I saved my quad. Now what do? Well, you say, okay, let me figure out where my short is. You fixed your short. Are you going to feel comfortable plugging it again without a smoke stopper? Because this is popped now. So now you have to hope you have a 2 amp fuse to put in here to replace it to try again. There were no spare fuses included, so now you have to go make a trip to the store to go get yourself a 2 amp fuse to go put into here to try again. Now, obviously, if you plug in and it works perfectly and there's no issues, you didn't pop the fuse and you're good for another time. So this is almost, if you want to think about it, disposable. I don't know how much a 2 amp fuse, automotive fuse, would cost, but by the time you make a special trip to the store to go buy one and you bring it back and stuff, you might not be the best thing. I don't know. Just my opinion. Take it or leave it. Next up, the USB cable. So if you would like a length on this, it is 1 meter or like 3.3 feet is what I believe they are called. You can't, let's be honest. A USB cable is a USB cable. There's no there's no brand on it. It's not like, whatever. This could be a really high end. It could be a very low end. The fact that there's no brand written on it, the only indication of anything is there's a USB logo, like the little 3-pronged trident looking thing to say USB, but there's no logo of any brand on it. So I'm going to just call it a no-name brand. And, you can get these a dime a dozen. It's, you can go to the dollar store and get these. I'm sure the quality of this is maybe a little bit better than the ones you get at the dollar store. The ones at the dollar store sometimes also don't have the sync or data compatibility. It's mostly just a charge cable. So, it's something to think about, but it's definitely a cool purchase because I was going to buy another one of these because the problem I have, this is the USB cable that I use all the time. It's supposed to live in my bag that I bring out in the field, so if I need to do any kind of thing with the USB on my laptop in the field, I have it with me. The problem is I keep taking it out of my bag and using it here in the studio. So you can see where I'm going. I end up taking my bag somewhere, and I don't have my USB cable, and then I have a problem. So now I have one for the studio, and now I have one for my bag, so all is well and good in the world with Tronage. And then the frame. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about this frame. Now, we'll say, there's no indication on the packaging what it is. There's no instructions included. There's nothing. You just have some carbon fiber parts, you have some standoffs, and you got some hardware, and that's about all I can see. That's about all that's in here. Okay, so keep in mind there's no instructions how to build it. You have to try to figure it out for yourself. It's not difficult. I mean, it's basically your standard, separated arms X-frame style with, It's kind of easy. Well, I'll probably work it into a build at some point. Oh, wait, that's right. I can't build with this right now. So we're going to discuss that. At this point, buried in the middle of this video is where I'm going to stick my little rant. And I'm doing that just because I like to share my thoughts on something that kind of irked me a little bit. So as a subscriber to Drone Drop, I received an email from them. And if you're a subscriber as well, you probably received this email as well. And if you're not a subscriber, then I'm going to share this email that I received from them with you right now. And in fact, I'll read it to you. Our April mess. We messed up and we are fixing it. You may have noticed you can't build the main item. Let's talk about that. This month was cursed. It was our first shipping delay in years of operation. Literally, our business is exploding. It caused a delay with the manufacturer. Little did we know that would be the least of our concerns. It was brought to our attention that the main item you got, frame, just frame, no indication of what frame, just frame, is missing a vital hole in each of the arms. This means unless you have a drill, you cannot properly build it. We are getting new arms cut, and they will be shipped to you free of charge. Did we mess up? Oh yeah. Are we fixing it? Absolutely. The moral to the story? We never make mistakes, but when we do it big. We understand the anger and frustration you're feeling, but please do not judge our service based off this 1 month. Or maybe you should judge us on how we over-communicate and fix the issue free of charge. Despite all of these delays, your arms will probably still get to you sooner than if you ordered an April quad box. Thank you for supporting Drone Drop and making this month the biggest yet. Enjoy this gift that represents our April experience. So what irked me? Well, the fact that they had to reference quad box. I kind of feel that that was really uncalled for. Basically, it's we screwed up again, but don't worry, we're still better than that other company. I don't feel that's really called for. I try to keep a very neutral, very unbiased thought process when it comes to both of these boxes. And I've come to the conclusion that you have to, because otherwise you can form an opinion very easily. That's why I restrict myself to doing this cost analysis, because you can't argue value. You can't argue with prices that are posted in the public area. You can argue someone's opinion, but you can't argue that this is the price of how much these things would cost. So therefore, it puts me in an area where you can't really argue with what I'm saying, because I'm just telling you facts. They're not opinion when it comes to at least the cost analysis and how much value you get. Drone Drop historically has given probably better branded stuff, more popular stuff, more like in-style brand name stuff. However, the value is usually lower, and that's completely understandable because you pay more for the brand name stuff, period. Quadbox, on the other hand, I feel their driving force is, instead of bringing you brand name products or, higher end stuff, they're more about giving you really good value. So you may not get the most top end thing, you may not get the brand name item, but when you look at the numbers don't lie. There's just way more value within a quad box. And here's my problem. So to call out quad box and saying, well, we got it to you faster, that's sort of irrelevant, because it doesn't matter who gets it first or last. So another little side rant to my rant. The way this works, if you're not familiar, and a Drone Drop and quad box work identical. They bill you, they get that money. They take that money, buy the stuff. Then they wait for that stuff to come to them. They get the stuff. They put it in the box and ship it to you. If there's a problem with the manufacturer, as in this situation, it causes a delay. It really has nothing to do with Drone Drop, nothing to do with quad box. The delays that you experience when you're waiting for a box and it doesn't come, it's not because Drone Drop or Quadbox are dropping the ball and, you know, they have the parts sitting there, but they're not putting it in the boxes and they're taking their time. No. The problem is that usually the manufacturer has a delay. It's usually in China, and there's shipping delays, there's manufacturing delays, there's issues like this where they can create a product and it's not to spec, it's missing a hole. Those all cause problems. Not really Drone Drop or Quadbox's fault. So when the box, you receive the box, then that's when you receive it. It just kind of bothered me that Drone Drop was like name calling when they're already late. And yes, Quadbox this month is late too. And I'm sure it's because of some sort of manufacturer hiccup. And it'll come when it comes. But like, you don't need to call people out on it. I mean, that just seems like a little childish if you ask me. You know, just... especially when you're trying, I just feel like they're trying to be like, ignore the fact that we screwed up. Look at these other people that are maybe worse. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. That's an opinion, and that you can argue with. But that's how I feel, and it just bothered me that they, like, worked in a quad box to try to, like, fix their mistake, I guess. I don't know. That was just my opinion. All right, now, rant off. So this frame, it looks pretty cool. There's no designation of what it is, what frame it is, and what instructions there are. And even in the email that I just shared with you, it refers to it as frame. So I can tell you it looks like a Hyperlight glide frame. And a Hyperlight glide frame is done by Kebab. You know, there's a whole little write-up about the Hyperlight glide frame on Kebab's website. And his, you know, you go to the website, you click on his blog or whatever, and you can read a whole article that he wrote about this frame. Okay, cool. But there's no instructions, there's no anything. So that was one challenge to really find the frame. Now the frame itself looks really cool. I'm really excited to build it. Now, a couple of things. If you want to build this, again, there is a hole that's missing, and it's in the arms. The arm needs to have 2 holes, and there's only 1 hole. So you need to drill your own hole if you're impatient for waiting for the replacement arms to arrive from Drone Drop. So, how do you drill carbon fiber? Well, it's carbon fiber. It probably will dull your drill bit, so keep that in mind. And also, when dealing with carbon fiber dust and debris, you don't want to breathe in. It can be very bad for your lungs. So, couple things to note. You should probably wear some sort of, you know, an N95 mask or a respirator or something so you don't breathe it, because even though you're just drilling a little hole, there will be some dust and debris that is created as that drill bit goes through. So just do it safely, because drilling carbon fiber can, you know, hurt you. So just be careful when you're working with carbon fiber and limit the dust, you know, try to clean up, don't let it linger around, wipe it up, clean it up, throw it away, because that stuff, if it becomes airborne, you breathe it in, it can be really harmful to your lungs because it just sticks in there and it doesn't go away. You can fix it, and that's probably what I'm going to do. I'll be patient enough to wait for my real arms, because the other thing is sort of knowing where to put that hole is a little bit difficult until you build out the frame and realize I can't put a screw through here. So then you have to figure out how to mark where that screw should go. I think it's probably just better to wait for the frame replacement parts, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one with and the one without, put them together, mark the hole, and then I'll know where I need to drill. But I probably won't even drill them. I'll just mark the holes with like a permanent marker and then set them aside. If I need them as a replacement because I've crashed and I break an arm, then I can always at that point drill the arm, put a replacement on, and I'm good to go. So I have 4 replacement arms. Happy-go-lucky me. Off I go. But this way I don't have to worry about drilling them ahead of time. I can just leave them as is, and if I use them, I use them. If I don't, I don't. So that's basically my plan. My plan is to keep them as a spare and off on the side and not worry about dealing with them until I get the replacement ones from Drone Drop. Alright, so that's pretty much sort of my take on this all. This is not a quad box versus Drone Drop opinion poll here, because I personally like both. That's why I subscribe to both. If I didn't like one or the other, I would probably unsubscribe. I like the quality that I can get from Drone Drop. I like the value that I get from Quadbox. That's why I've subscribed to both. However, I just was not happy about sort of the way things were handled. And that's that. We move on with life. And we just enjoy flying for fun. And flying for therapy. Because if you are upset about something and you want to fly to feel good, you should check out that video I have up there about flying for therapy. It hasn't gotten many views, but it's definitely it's a little bit of a sad video because it's talking about when my grandfather passed away and how I used FPV and flying to sort of get through that and to sort of get my mind off of things and to try to deal with that. But again, it's perfectly relevant for anything that may be going on in your life and you want to just feel a little bit happier and a little bit better. Use some FPV, fly around, make yourself feel good. All right. So as always, my name is Tronage. Fly strong.